Hey clinicians, thanks for coming back to another video. And on today's video, we're going to talk about how you can develop rapport with a patient very quickly. By the way, my name's Phil. I'm an ex-physio turned sales and communication coach, and I want to help you become a better clinician through improving your soft communication skills. Okay, let's begin. So first is why is rapport important? For me, I like to think that rapport is just another way of saying, do you get along with your patient? So why is it important that you get along with your patient? And to me, it's very simple. You need to get along with your patient because if they don't like you, they don't want to come to the sessions. And if they don't want to come to your sessions, then how are you going to see them through the entire rehab plan? At the same time, if they don't like you, they're more likely to disbelieve whatever program you're going to give them anyway. So I'm not saying that you need to try and become their best friend. All I'm saying is you pretty much want to be on the same page as to wanting to work together, because if you don't, then you're always going to have a little bit more extra work to do to convince them, a little bit more justification for why you're doing what you're doing. And when it comes to the business side, they're less likely to want to part ways with their hard-earned money because they're paying somebody that they don't actually like. I've met so many decent clinicians who, if you talk to them clinically, are amazing, but when you talk to them socially, are very awkward and cannot seem to hold a conversation or develop rapport with anyone. And those people don't get the outcomes that they should be able to because they simply can't connect with the patient. So here are 3 practical skills that you can use right away in your next consult to improve the amount of rapport that you develop with your patient. Okay, the first technique is the oldest technique in the book, and it's just to use their first name. There's an old saying that if you are in a crowded room, just say someone's first name and they're going to respond to you every time. Now, I haven't tested that in a crowded room, but in most instances, it works pretty well. The problem with this technique in a clinical setting is it gets awkward very quickly if you just spam it all the time. Like if the person's name is Jessica, you start the sentence with Jessica, you end the sentence with Jessica, and the next sentence is another Jessica, and it just gets very weird. So although using their name is important, it's all about how you place the name into the natural flow of a conversation. I found 2 ways that work really well. The first way is to use their first name as a conjunction to another sentence. For example, if I'm going to be educating Jessica on a 6-week ankle rehabilitation plan, I might say something like, the ankle rehabilitation plan takes roughly 6 to 8 weeks, and Jessica, the main focus is to improve your strength and range of motion in the first 2 weeks. Okay, so that's a very easy way of using their name as a conjunction between 2 other sentences. The second way that is very easy is to use what I like to call the Shakespeare soliloquy. So what that is in the middle of what you're saying, you want to break away from the story and address them with their name directly. For example, if I want to tell a story of my drive to work this morning where I was almost hit by another car, I might say something like this. I was on the way to work this morning and it was pretty quiet on the road. But as I was going past my normal light, Jessica, you wouldn't believe what happened next. A car sped out from the intersection and almost T-boned me. So you can see that I drop it in very smoothly. There's nothing that feels forced about it. And for the person hearing it, it sounds sweet to them because it's their name, but they're not even fully aware that that's exactly what I did. So practice makes perfect. And yes, it's going to be a little bit awkward sometimes, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and soon it'll become natural. The next technique you can use to really develop rapport with somebody is allow them to educate you. I think a lot of clinicians feel that they should be the ones educating their patient, but actually most patients like to educate you too on things that they're good at. And if you allow that to happen, they're going to trust you more because you've listened to what they had to say. So it doesn't even have to be anything to do with the rehab setting. They have jobs, they have things they're good at. And if you're able to just ask the right question to get them to teach you something about what they know, then they feel like you're listening to them. So in return, when you start to educate them on something that you want them to know, then because you've given them your time of day first, they're more likely to give the same back to you. So the phrases I use to get this happening are, hey, that sounds pretty interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Or I might say, hey, you sound like you really know your stuff about this. and I'll just let the conversation unfold. There's another old saying which goes something like this: if you want to learn, teach. And if you want to teach, learn. And that's exactly what you're trying to do here. You're going to try to learn from them so they can teach you something, and in return, you're going to do the same back to them. And in the process, you'll also develop a good relationship. I know this sounds obvious, but the last technique is actually just to be helpful, not just in what you're doing as a clinician, but in other aspects of life too. For example, if your patient talks about food and you know something about food that you can help them with, why won't you just say something that you know? And I'm not talking about giving prescriptive advice, which is going to be outside your scope. But if you say something like, yeah, carbohydrates help me train because most of the research we have shows that carbohydrates is the best fuel source for training, then why wouldn't you tell that to your patient? Similarly, I've had so many conversations with my patients and clients who like the way that I'm able to present certain ideas. And because I'm good at that, they ask me for how they should say certain things to their work colleagues or to their clients or to their family in order to resolve a dispute. And because I'm good with language, I just give them some of my opinions and they use it to better their life. So the reason this works so well is because when you help someone and they form that good attachment towards you, that feeling extends beyond just what you help them with. They're more likely to trust you for rehab if you've also provided value in another aspect of their life and other aspects of their life. It's not that you help them with rehab and they think, well, Phil's only good for rehab, so our relationship stops at rehab. Everything actually forms and binds together so they can see you as a person that is helpful. So technique 3, which isn't really a technique, is just to be helpful. Be diverse in what you can offer your patients. So every time they come to see you, there's something more that you can give them that is beneficial to their life. In summary, look, getting along with someone is much easier than you think if you know how to do it. And yes, the techniques are going to feel weird in the beginning. It's not going to feel natural, but that's what people say about driving too. And everyone gets to learn how to drive and everyone becomes a natural driver anyway. Well, some. And the 3 techniques that you're going to use are 1, use their name, 2, let them be your educator, and 3, be helpful in more ways than one. If you use these techniques, I guarantee that you will find it much easier to build rapport with your patients. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.